And again, we're hugging that right shoulder, driving in the bike lane instead of the regular lanes of traffic. And I do see one LAPD unit and another LAPD unit a good distance behind the bus. So they're in the area. They know where this guy is, and they're keeping a close eye on him, even from the ground. We're now going southbound on an alleyway from Hatteras, and that LAPD unit is right behind him. We'll see if the behavior of this bus driver changes. No lights and sirens, because we're technically in tracking mode. But of course, considering the size of the vehicle and the danger that it may pose, that LAPD unit is going to keep a close eye on this bus no matter what, even if they're technically in tracking mode. This alleyway does not continue all the way through to a street. He's going to need to make a left turn there. And we're basically in a shopping center parking lot. Still near the intersection of Burbank Boulevard and Van Nuys Boulevard. Now back onto Tilden, driving around some cross traffic there. This is going to be Burbank Boulevard, and we'll see what the driver does back at the Burbank Boulevard, Van Nuys Boulevard intersection. Making a right turn again and hopping the curb again, getting right up close to that other oncoming traffic. And now this LAPD unit has his lights and sirens back on now. I believe the top of that LAPD car says 09, which would be a Van Nuys unit. So it looks like the Van Nuys division of LAPD is now taking this pursuit into their hands. This did start in Hollywood. It was a Hollywood division pursuit, and now Van Nuys division LAPD officers are taking this back into pursuit mode, continuing northbound on Van Nuys Boulevard. Slowing through the intersection a little bit. Passing Van Nuys City Hall. There's a few major intersections up ahead that I'm curious to see what this driver does as we go through those intersections. I believe that was a green light there. Another green light up ahead. Van Nuys Boulevard and Friar Street. And then Van Nuys Boulevard and Victory Boulevard. We've been on Victory Boulevard a lot in this pursuit, but we're just going to cross right through it and keep on going forward. Okay. Van Nuys Boulevard and Kittredge now, making a right turn on Kittredge. And it sounds like now even the Van Nuys division LAPD officers have been told to stand down from this pursuit on the ground. They will continue to track from the air, continuing eastbound on Kittredge, back in these narrow residential streets. There's quite a few of these across the San Fernando Valley. Northbound Sylmar from Kittredge Avenue. At this point, the bus driver looks lost. It seems like he has no real sense of direction. He's just kind of driving around, hopping curbs as he goes. I think that there has to be a record for most curbs hopped in a pursuit. There's been a lot of them in this one. Oh, I thought that cross traffic was coming up really fast, but it looks like the bus came to a stop just on the other side of that building, thankfully. And now we're going eastbound on Van Owen. Northbound Lenox. I'm really glad that bus came to a stop. before crossing Van Orn. But this is what I was worried about here. You have parts of the valley where a lot of people are just out enjoying a summer night, crossing the street, and there may be a lot of pedestrians in this area. And the bus appears to be, he was going to make a left turn on Hart, but decides against it and continues down Lenox Avenue. That was an interesting maneuver there. Unsure why the driver did that. And now a left turn on Vose. There's some traffic there in the way. Are the bus doors open? It looks like the driver's opening and closing the doors. Very close to the curb there, crossing back onto Van Nuys Boulevard, making a northbound turn now. Still hugging that right side shoulder. We're getting past Sherman Way, continuing past Sherman Way, still on Van Nuys Boulevard northbound. Some pedestrians in the sidewalk there. Now, earlier when this pursuit started, the information that we originally had was that Hollywood Division officers from LAPD started this pursuit after apparently they received word that this bus was stolen from Children's Hospital. We have no indication that there are other people on this bus. So we can only hope that there were either, if there were people on the bus earlier, they got off in time, or there were no people on the bus to begin with. This is one of those buses with those tinted windows, so it's hard to see inside from this angle. But we're continuing northbound Van Nuys Boulevard in the Panorama City area now. And we're really seeing a slowdown in the behavior from this driver. There's a bicyclist there. This driver has loved driving in bike lanes, which is very strange. So that was a little interesting. Making a right turn on Armenta. What do you got? Oh, I see. So Armenta, I don't know if it's a dead, yeah, well, that's a dead-end street. And the bus is coming to a stop. The driver, out of the bus, he has got a backpack on, and he's just going to run away. He's going to leave the bus in the middle of Armenta Street in Panorama City. He's walking towards the Home Depot. This is a Home Depot that's open at this time, and walks into the garden center like no big deal. The suspect has left the bus, walked into the Home Depot, and is now walking through the garden center. Rob, push into the garden center there. So he did make the left turn and walk inside the actual store part of the Home Depot. So he's no longer in that garden center. And you can see those LAPD units pulling up right away. I see one LAPD unit so far. Hopefully more are on the way. Those couple of officers walking in the garden center. I've got one eye on the exit to the Home Depot to see if we can see anything happening there. You have the LAPD air unit overhead. they're keeping an eye on all sides of this Home Depot store to make sure nobody tries to run out of the store. But if you've been to a Home Depot, you know how big those stores are. I've been to this particular store, and it's a huge store. There's a lot of places. There's a lot of nooks and crannies to where you can go. They do have. Oh, I see one person that might have just been a child running outside, unrelated. You see one woman kind of pointing back into the store. I wonder if that has something to do. Hopefully, LAPD is making contact with the suspect here. But as I was saying, I'm sure everybody knows how big Home Depot stores are. And there's a lot of room for a person to run and hide inside the store. I can't tell if those people in the store are seeing something on the inside or if they're just going about their normal day. It does appear you have the door closed now. It looks like an employee has locked the door. So it does appear that these Home Depot staff are aware of what's going on. The LAPD officers inside have at least made contact with the staff to get them to lock at least that one front door. You have a couple of other staff people walking out this back door. And this will be a little bit of a challenge for LAPD unless they were able to get eyes on the suspect right away. That bus still just parked in the middle of Armenta. You have officers watching the back doors. They are going to form a perimeter around this entire shopping center. You have a Home Depot, an Old Navy, and a Gap. We have a number of other officers running inside as well. I'm hearing from the police scanner traffic that they possibly have the suspect in. They possibly have eyes on the suspect. Are you able to get on the south side? See if we can see the south side of the garden center. The north entrance of the garden center, which you would want to see from the south, right? Yeah, they'll pull them out there too. If you're still watching along on the ABC 7 24/7 channel and all of our ABC 7 streaming platforms, you've been watching continuing coverage of a wild bus pursuit. One of those small passenger buses apparently possibly stolen from Children's Hospital. The suspect got out of the just parked in the middle of the street, got out of the bus, and walked into this Home Depot through the garden center. We do understand that officers were able to make their way into the garden center, and they have made contact with the suspect. They are taking him into custody right now, and we are waiting to see when they pull this suspect out of the store. You have more LAPD officers making their way to the scene right now. And there you have somebody in custody in handcuffs. Looks like that person may have shedded their yellow jacket. They were wearing a yellow colored jacket when they ran into the store with a backpack. I don't see the backpack or the yellow colored jacket anymore. But officers believe that this is the person that was driving that bus earlier and is now in custody. A wild pursuit covering a lot of the San Fernando Valley, putting a lot of people in danger, possibly sideswiping a couple of vehicles, a lot of close calls, no major crashes. And it does appear that all ends well here at the Home Depot off of Armenta Street in Panorama City. With Pilot Johnny and Rob on the camera controls, I'm Gabe Santos, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.